Good morning, okay, an 8:48. Happy Tuesday to you. You know, you listen to us each and every morning, and that's phenomenal. But maybe you really don't hear us. Maybe that's the thing is like you think you hear the right sounds, but you aren't hearing the right sounds. Harlon of BELTONE joins us this morning. nchearing.com is the website. You can get your free hearing test all around the Lake Norman area. And so you don't have to be shouting across the house at each other. What? Do you find, Harlon, that when people come in and they have that hearing test, do most believe they have a hearing problem, or they've been convinced by somebody else to come in and have a hearing test completed?
60-40. Most people do kind of want to deny it at first. They don't believe it because it's such a slow process, and the sounds you miss are the sounds that give you clarity, but you still hear the loudness sounds. The sounds on the left-hand side of the piano sound deeper and different, and then the sounds on the right-hand side. So those sounds on the left are the ones that remain. That's what gives you the feeling of loudness. So most people, it's such a gradual process. The family members will notice it. So you will find them kind of encouraging you to come in. And so a lot of times folks will just come in because other people have been noticing. They have to repeat themselves. And so it's a slow process.
Yeah, you mentioned that because I always thought of it being, okay, I'm not around heavy machinery all day, right? So, you know, I don't have some loud event that's taking place in my ear and damaging my hearing. But most people aren't around that kind of loud equipment. So is it, hey, even if I've not been around loud things my whole life or about big explosions, can I still experience hearing loss?
Everybody's going to have a little bit when they get older, but most of the time it's not enough to do something about. But family history and noise is the most common types of hearing loss. You can have things when you're younger that happen, ear infections or different things of that nature, but mostly it's heredity and noise. And the noise, it affects the sounds, again, that are the clarity sounds. It drops that down. And so it's family history also drops those same sounds down. And it's a slow process. If you mom and dad both have a hearing loss, you're likely to have something going on there. But if one has it and you have 3 grandparents that didn't, then you'll have less likely than most. And so it's not necessarily every family member is going to have it, but it is, just like genetics, it's going to be different.
Wild, the hereditary side.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody at church, and they actually came to see you because they couldn't hear their grandchildren talking,
wow.
and that like their young grandchildren, that high pitch, they have that higher pitched voice, and yes, she was like, I realized I couldn't hear my grandchildren talking, so I needed to go to BELTONE.
And they're all, well, good. They're glad they did.
That's right.
So they're the softer voices are going to be different. If it's not loud enough, then it makes a big difference. If you have a hearing loss, a little softening of a voice or somebody turns their back, it's misery, just terrible. But for a normal hearing, folks, you can get away with that kind of thing from the next room in, but that's what they notice first goes away, things at a distance, small voice people. And so they want to hear their family members, and the family members are often complaining because they have to do all the repeating. The person who has a hearing loss says, huh, or what? And that's it. And then the next person has, okay, and they have to say it again. So sometimes you'll get the, never mind, or you hear what you want to hear. Or you
that's why I'm told I have selective hearing.
Yeah. Well, that's something we ladies deal with the men all the time, the selective hearing. I don't know if BELTONE can help with that.
Yeah. They'll throw the guys under the bus. Women are like that too. But so I'll see somebody, I'll be talking to somebody and getting their hearing, talking about their hearing, and then I'll mention selective hearing loss. The other person's going,
yeah, that's the one.
Their headphones fall off. So it's awesome to learn that other people are more bothered often than the person who's experiencing the hearing loss, because the whole family suffers. And the family doesn't go out and do things, and they don't know why. The husband doesn't want to do it. It's a gradual thing, so it's not like it just clicked and all of a sudden. So folks are holding back from their fun, holding their spouse back from their fun. So if you don't know and you don't feel comfortable, you don't know what everybody's saying, or you feel like you're lost, sometimes you feel very left out. You can be in a room full of people and still feel very lonely. Everybody's talking, having a great time, slapping their knees, having some fun. And you just feel like you're left out, and that's embarrassing. If somebody draws attention to it, to other people, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. But to that person, they've been hiding that hearing loss and tried to cover it up and trying to figure out what's going on. They have to pay extra attention, super attention almost, in order to catch what those folks are going on. So when they don't hear, they're embarrassed, and so they don't want to go do things. And so that keeps you back, holds you back socially, and also mentally. You decline mentally too.
That's what you were saying, is that there's studies out now that show, like, if you start losing your hearing, your mental decline kind of starts kicking in at that point too?
Johns Hopkins and some other groups did some big studies over thousands of people over many years, and they determined that somebody who has normal hearing is going to degrade at a certain level. But if you have a hearing loss, you're mentally going to drop way faster and have a harder time keeping up, and it's not as much fun doing things, as I mentioned earlier. Plus, you just feel left out. You're not engaged mentally, socially, you're not as engaged, so you're going to be dropping those habits, and you're going to feel left out, and doing things is going to be no fun anymore. So you will decline mentally. Folks who have a hearing loss, they stop the degrading just as good as somebody who has normal hearing, just almost as good, in my opinion. It can't be exactly the same, but the studies show that it's almost exactly the same. If you have hearing aids treated, if you have a hearing loss treated, you're good, and it helps keep up the mental decline stops or drastically drops from what it would be.
And so to treat the hearing loss, the first step is having the hearing test. And you go by BELTONE, nchearing.com. You can see all the locations that Harlan's got. And you go in there, and is it what? You're playing tones in the person's ear to see if they hear those sounds, or how does it work?
Yeah, we're going to measure two things. First, the hearing ability. Like notes on a piano, a voice is a mixture of a lot of different things. The deeper sounds on one side of the piano, the high-pitched sounds on the others. So we're going to measure all that. But we're also going to measure the person's ability to hear the clarity of speech. We're going to find what level they like, and then at that level, we're going to present some words to them and just see how they understand the words without reading lips and without having a clue what the word is. We'll just find out how clear can you hear. Not everybody hears the same clarity capability. Some people, when they turn the TV up, for example, to their favorite level, it's clear as a bell. Other people, they turn it up to their favorite level, and it's not clear. That's what hearing aids fix, because we can raise up the individual sounds to figure out what it takes to make that person hear clear. And that's what folks want to hear, clarity.
It's very cool, the technology that exists in hearing aids, but Harlan, I'm a little concerned. It sounds like it could be extremely expensive to get hearing aids. What's that conversation normally like?
Well, lots of different hearing aid companies, and they're all good companies. All the major brands are good. The over-the-counter things, they don't do that great, and they really don't serve. They serve a purpose if you just can't afford anything, and it's something better than nothing. However, if you get a real hearing aid, all the major companies are going to be good. There's not a crummy major company. They're all good. If you know your product, from my position, if you know your product, you can do good for that person. So each person is a little different on what they want, and some hearing aids do fancier things. They will help you better in groups of people and background noise. Some hearing aids, if you're not in a group of people all the time, and you just rarely do that, you don't need the super expensive hearing aids. However, if you've got insurance, a lot of times you can get a much lower cost because your insurance helps. They will negotiate lower prices with insurance, with hearing aid companies, and then they help pay for it as well. So check and see if your provider has insurance coverage. And we are in major networks ourselves: United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Humana, Cigna, Hearing Care Solutions. Lots of different companies will work with these insurance networks and help out a lot with cost. But not all hearing aids are the same price. You can find one company that may have a little bit lower, so shop that around. And most of the major companies all the major companies are going to be good. And if you've got a good person, that's what you should go. If you're going to seek someone out, you like him and they do good and they've come through for you, stay with that person. They'll help you.
And you mentioned you guys are BELTONE, which is a particular product, but you carry the different lines. You have the option for all the lines.
They don't lock us in to have just one brand. Whatever works best for that patient. Sometimes they have a friend who has one, they like that, we get that same kind. Or maybe they have one on one side, they want to match the other. No worries, we can handle that. It's what's best. And there's, again, the cost of hearing aids is not much difference between the different brands. They're almost all the same, really. And you can get the brand A or brand B, and they're going to be about the same price. And the dispenser will help you figure out which one is right for the hearing loss. Maybe not doing too much. Sometimes you can get a hearing aid too expensive. The next one below that could do equally well. Maybe the one below that could do equally well. It's not always about how expensive it is.
Mamie mentioned that they're friends with the grandchildren. Let's say that they really like talking on the phone with their grandchildren, right? That's a common thing. Where grandparents want to stay connected with the technology. Do they connect to the phones and all that too, so you can make it easy to do all that kind of stuff?
People light up and go, "What? I can hear on my phone? Sure, that's awesome." Yeah. So when you talk on your phone, you're able to hear the person through your hearing aids. So you can even have the hearing aid in the other room. Just tap your hearing aids a certain way, and your phone could be over there. You can still talk to that person with your phone, not even in your possession. You don't have to have that. Some people are a little bit scared of that, but don't worry, because you don't do anything different but answer your phone like normal, or tap the hearing aid button, and you can answer that phone. So don't be afraid. It is a cool thing.
You can use it as a Bluetooth headphone for music or anything else too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, great point. Yeah, you can do that. You can take your phone and put it under the TV, put it on transmit mode, and your hearing aids will hear whatever that. Wow! If you want to, but don't be afraid.
Yeah,
I'll teach you. I'll hold your hand. Don't worry.
Do hearing aids help with tinnitus, like the ringing in the ear? Does that ever?
I would say 60 or 70% of the people have ringing. The tinnitus, it sounds different. Sometimes it sounds like a constant tone, which is what mine sound like. But other people, it sounds like crickets outside, or a hissing or a chirping sound. But yes, 60 to 70% of the people, coincidentally, about that same number, of people who get hearing aids notice their ringing is much better or improved or don't notice it, or they don't even think about it anymore after they get them while they have their hearing aids. That is correcting your hearing, and hearing loss causes tinnitus. Fix the hearing loss, tinnitus is often better.
I like to think of myself as a DIYer. My wife will definitely say I'm not a DIYer. At least I attempt
Heard
to
your
be.
story about painting the closet.
Yeah, there you go. I imagine these hearing aids have some level of maintenance to them. If I have a need and like after I get them, are you just like gonna act like you don't know me, or what's that like in that process?
Well, it'd be kind of rude to do that, but you're so nice and all that. But yeah, we take care of people. If you come in, we have staff members that know how to do that. So even if you just popped in, you can come in, talk to us. Even if you didn't have an appointment, you can come in and say, "Hey, I'm in, maybe call. So I'm in the area. Can I swing by?" If the maintenance is very simple. It's some filters change, a quick little thing. It's quite easy. People are afraid, but they've never seen it. But once they say, "Oh, that's easy. I can do that." So don't worry. It's not hard maintenance, and our staff is there to help.
And it all starts with that free hearing test.
There
You
you
go
go.
into BELTONE, you sit down with Harlan, and he goes through the different pianos. He even sings to you, I think, during it to just make sure it's
A
all
deep voice, a very full voice.
And insurance. So again, back to the insurance. Are you finding that a lot of people can have at least some level of coverage with their insurance for the cost of the hearing aids?
Some insurance companies, Blue Cross, Humana, they'll negotiate discounts with the BELTONE group, and they will have a lower cost because of that. But often, a step past that is you're going to have that insurance company pay for your hearing aids, help you pay for it, and on sometimes all of it. So you can come in and learn, and our staff member can research that in advance and let you know, even before you have the test, what your likely cost would be. So we can share that with you and learn together and figure out what it is for your particular policy.
Harlan and BELTONE, go by any of Harlan's locations. nchearing.com is the website. Be sure to go in for your free hearing test. Find out if insurance is going to cover your hearing aids for you as well. nchearing.com.